This is the Unit 9 review. We'll start with the second half of the Unit 9 review. We'll start with question 2 since we already did question 1 in class. Solve by completing the square. So we're going to subtract 25 from both sides. B squared plus 8b equals negative 33. What would we put in there? What's half of b is 4. 4 squared would be 16, so we're adding 16 to both sides. Add 16. This factors to b plus 4 squared equals negative 17. We'll take the square root. So we get b plus 4 equals positive and negative I times the square root of 17. Subtract 4, and b equals negative 4 plus n minus I square root of 17. 3, similar, subtract 75. R squared minus 8r equals negative 85. We want to add 16 to both sides, add 16. So this is r minus 4 squared equals negative, what is this? 69. Take the square root, and the square root, r minus 4 equals plus and minus I square root of 69. So then we'll add 4 to both sides, and r equals equals 4 plus and minus I square root of 69. 4, we need to get the leading coefficient to be a 1, so let's move this 15 over. And we'll get 7x squared plus 14x equals 17. Now we'll divide the whole equation by 7. So we'll get x squared plus 2x equals 17 over 7. We'll add half of 2 is 1, 1 squared is 1, so we'll add 1 to both sides. I'm going to show that as 7 over 7 on this side, so this factors through the quantity x plus 1 squared equals 24 over 7.
Along with some homework,
we'll take the square root and the square root, and we'll get x plus 1 equals positive and negative. Square root of 24 is going to simplify to 2 root 6 over root 7. And we want to get rid of that root 7, so we'll multiply by root 7. And we'll get x plus, we can subtract 1 at the same time. So we'll get x equals negative 1 plus or minus 2 root 42 over 7. YouTube. Solve each equation with the quadratic formula. The opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And we'll plug in negative 3 for b, a 4 for a, and a negative 5 for c. So we get 3 plus and minus the square root of 9, and negative 4, 4, and 5 makes 80 over 8. So this simplifies to 3 plus and minus the square root of 89 over 8, and I can't simplify that. Next one, let's move that 7 over, so we get negative 7b squared plus 9 equals 0. So the opposite of b, plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And we'll plug in our b value is 0. Our a value is -7. And our c value is 9. So this makes 0 plus and minus the square root of, we've got two negatives here, so 4 times 7 is 28. And 28 times 9 is 252. All over -14. So a little side problem. Since 28 times 9 made 252, the square root of 9 is, so that's the square root of 9 times the square root of 28, right? Square root of 9 is 3. Square root of 28 would be 2 root 7, so this would be 6 root 7. So this is 0 plus and minus 6 root 7 over -14. We can leave that 0 out of there. And we can simplify this to plus and minus what goes into both of those 2. So that would be 3 square root of 7 over -7. Find the discriminant. That's b squared minus 4ac. So b squared minus 4ac. Our b value is 9. A is -9. And c is 0. So this is 81. So that means we have two solutions and it's factorable. I need to put the 4 on the other side, so this makes -n squared plus 2n minus 1 equals 0. b squared minus 4ac. b value is 2, a is -1, c is -1, so this is 4 minus 4 equals 0. So 0 means we have one solution. What number would be added to both sides to complete the square? Half of 8 is 4. 4 squared is 16. Sally is 5 years older than Molly. The product of their ages is 50. How old is Molly? So m plus, if Sally is 5 years older than Molly, then that will be m plus 5. And the product, so it should be m times m plus 5. There we go. And that equals 50. So that's m squared plus 5m equals 50, or minus 50 equals 0. And now we can factor this. So if we factor this, factors of -50 that add to 5 would be 10. So m plus 10 and m minus 5 equals 0. So m equals 5. And Sally would be 10 then. A rectangle has an area of 24 square centimeters. The width is 5 centimeters less than the length. What is the length? So draw ourselves a picture. 24 is the area. The width is 5 centimeters less than the length. So W equals the length minus 5 centimeters. That would be length. So L times L minus 5 equals 24. L squared minus 5L minus 24 equals 0. What are factors of -24 that add to -5? Well, how about 8 and 3? So that would be L minus 8 times L plus 3 equals 0. So L equals 8. If L is 8, then the width would be 3. Solve this. 4x squared equals negative 64 divided by 4. X squared equals negative, what's that, 14? No, 20, or 16, sorry. Square root, so x equals 4i.